Hey YouTube, what you doing? No, so in a previous video, I talked about my love of horror. And I wanted to let y'all know, because I made that video, horror's not it for me. It's not everything, right? Like, I've got a lot of horror games planned, more than anything else. But me and my son have made plans for games that are not horror related at all. Um, they will be in the same universe as all the horror games, but that'll be with little nods here and there. And like if we make random first person shooter number 5 and there's something about that game that really sticks out, like a gun that we make up for the game that's never been seen in real life. In one of the horror games, it might be a background piece being held by a skeleton wearing things that have been seen in that game, and for some reason you can't pick up that gun from that dead body. Um, there is a location that's gonna be in a lot of my games. The super historical, not so much. We'll get to that in a second. Um, but in the modern day and or futuristic games, except for one futuristic game, I don't want to give too much away about my universe, but I have plans for a couple of games that take place in an apocalyptic situation, but not a real apocalypse. Humanity didn't die off, they left. Um, so, one of the games is going to take place in one of the places that humanity left to. I'm probably going to dive into that a little more for other sci-fi and or sci-fi horror games. But for that one or any other, the location that I'm talking about that's going to be in a lot of games, which you guys will find out about soon enough, it's not going to be in those games. Because the way I think about it, long before humanity left Earth, most of them, the character that owns this location will already be gone. So that location will not be spread across the universe. But in some other games, it's going to be showing up. Racing games, for sure. There will be street race sections, or we're also planning a crashing game because I'm not gonna indict myself here or nothing for a lawsuit, but indict and lawsuit. I'm not gonna lose a lawsuit on purpose here, but there used to be a series of games that a large point of why anybody played them was crashing. And then they made a game where stopped being able to crash. And nobody was happy about that. And then they made a game where you could crash if essentially you had already beaten the whole damn game and do all this racing crap and da 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 da. Well, we want to make a game where you crash and there is no racing. We're still debating that part, whether there will be racing or not, but the mainstay of the game is most definitely going to be focused in causing the biggest, gnarliest crash you can. Because we loved those games when he was a kid, and that's why we loved them, is the crashing sequences. He got into racing games because of that game, because there were parts where you had to race. But the game, the main mechanic being the crashing, we want to do that. And we're probably not going to make a ton of sequels. We might, one day down the road, oh man, look at all these cars that have come out now, and these cars are more structurally sound, and these cars are more fast, and whatever, so now we should make another one of those and introduce these cars into it. Okay. Or if we come up with something cool and new to add to it, okay. We're not going to pump out a bunch of um, sequels to the point to where either we stop making those games or people start being extremely bored with them and stop buying them, or we have to change it to where it's no longer the same type of game. No. The game that was titled This Crashing Game, subtitle, they literally could have named anything else. People would have liked, racing game fans would have liked the game. I probably wouldn't have bought it, but if you're getting the money from the racing game fans, you don't need my money. Just like if I release a first person shooter, that's who it's for, right? If I release a deep horror game, that's who it's for, is fans of that. I don't care what the first person shooter fans think in that game. If they hold on, they got a game coming too. Um, so yeah, we have other games that are not horror planned. Um, a couple that are very intricately detailed, very planned out, very large, but not horror. I have a plan for a game that is horror. Maybe I should have talked about it in the last video, but whatever. I it's gonna be a horror game, deeply horror. Oh shit moments going on, or themes going on, big scary moments, um, slightly less scary moments, cyberpunk-ish moments, but it's also going to be a Souls-like, very deeply a Souls-like. Um, Hidden lore, uh, level you up character, place where you rest and do things that you need to do. Yeah, all that. Fast travel through the rest place that also regenerates enemies. Yeah, yeah. But it's not going to be a dark fantasy. It's not going to involve knights. It's not going to involve the same classes. The entire class system is going to be different. And like I said, there's going to be. Now, I do not want firearms to creep their way into the game. I am not an anti-gun person. As a matter of fact, even though, like I've said in a previous video, I don't have politics as far as you guys are concerned. Do not have political ideals. I do firmly believe in the Constitution and freedoms and Second Amendment. So don't think that that's what I mean when I say this. But in that particular game, I don't want firearms creeping their way in and kind of taking over the game and it just becoming a third person shooter. That's why I don't want guns in that game. Even though it's going to have very cyberpunk inspired themes, very. I'm blending about 4 different genres of lore, storytelling into one game. I'm also deeply ingraining horror into every aspect of it. I'm also doing the upfront story that doesn't take over the whole game. Here's some story for you. Along with the deep dive story that's in lore, in searching a certain area, finding a piece of machinery on a wall, and you inspect that piece of machinery and you get some lore and it tells you a little bit of something, or you find this thing and it's an item that you get to carry and you find out some more lore, and you get this armor piece and get some more lore and get this weapon yeah, so like that in the Souls-like. Very deep Souls-like, very deep horror, and like I said, uh, about 4 genres all blended together, not involving dark fantasy. Except for I do want to have a culture. Let's just say 5 cultures. The 5th one being a blend of all of them in one culture. But 5 cultures. One of them's going to be magic. Like magic, like crystals and herbs and potions and magic wands and shit. And another one is going to be very cyberpunk. But as I'm white and not Asian, I'm not going to put any of the Asian influence that cyberpunk usually has in it. I am a white American. I'm not going to bastardize their culture for my cyberpunk. Instead, I'm going to make it very Euro-American, European-American blended. Um, Very cyberpunk, very technology is everything. And then, wait a minute, did I miscount? Mm, 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 mm. Six different cultures that are all going to be involved in this game. One deep, freaky, scary, but not so scary, useful. By the way, the 6th culture is not going to be blended in the 5th culture. Um, One culture that focuses on humanity, And the sixth culture, very, very horror, everything, crazy cult shit. Yeah. So yeah, I do have a horror game planned that is also a Souls-like and also twisted, demented, and messed up in every way. You're welcome. Um, but there's a lot of games I have planned that have nothing to do with horror games, racing games, first-person shooter games. I have super platformer games. I guess that's what we'll say. A couple of historical games, history-themed games. I have weird religious conversation games. I'm not focusing on any one religion on any game, except for I, not the religion, more the culture. I almost forgot to tell you guys about this. I do plan to make a very large lore. I don't know how I'm going to connect it to the rest of the universe of my games, but I want to make some Viking games. Big time. I've got plans for two where I literally just went, this game, but Vikings. This game, but Vikings. Now, that's not it. I didn't stop planning there. I fleshed it out. I made it amazing. I connected all the Viking games. Um, there's huge story. And then on one of the games that I went, this game, but Vikings, I also went, wait a minute. But his life can continue. That Viking, the main motherfucker in that game, his life can continue, and we can see the rest of his story. The very last of his games will have something to do with the religion, because the very last of his games will take place at the same time as another Viking game I want to make, and it'll be where he passes away. And when he does, he will go to Valhalla. If you're interested in those games, let me know. Because game number 3, I'll go ahead and make it the beginning of all of that. Now, I will make my third game the beginning of all of that, and then go to something else, and then go back, and then go to horror, and then go back. Like, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to release a whole series and work on nothing else. But, yeah. So, yeah, just hit me up in the comments. Let me know what sounds the most interesting to you. And whatever gets hit the most may very well be the third game that we make. Uh, Thanks for listening to me ramble. Sorry, I do have more devlogs coming. I promise. I've got a lot more work to do, and then when I start working on A Friend in the Darkness, the devlogs are going to be insane because I'm going to be dropping them regularly. Hell, when I start working on that game, every video for a while is going to be a devlog. Unless there's news about the gaming industry that I'm like, okay, we need to talk about this. But, yes, as it stands, we are working on the return. And next is going to be A Friend in the Darkness. If you really want to know about those games, what they're really about, you're going to have to wait. The return is going to be coming out soon. I've been working extra hard to make sure that it doesn't take more than like 2 months from now. So it'll be coming soon, and I'm not giving you a release date because I don't know. Who knows what happens tomorrow? But I know I'm working on it really hard and trying to get it done as fast as possible. Partly because I really want to get started on A Friend in the Darkness. I'm definitely not giving you a release date on that. But stick around because release dates will be coming. They'll be coming soon. As a matter of fact, when the next step in the return is done, I'm going to make an announcement on here. I'm going to make an announcement on TikTok, all of our other social medias, and then I'm going to start building it with a release date already announced. So, stick in there, guys. Uh, show your love, show your support, help us grow, and we'll help you enjoy gaming again. See you in the next one.